It's a quiet day here. Snowdrops are popping up in the soil. The bluebells are slowly showing themselves as though wondering if the winter is truly gone. Just one gust of a chilly wind, and they might hide themselves away again, not to be seen for a while. The sun is rising steadily in the horizon, and I already feel its warmth. It's hugging me today, so I've decided to take myself off for a walk in the woods. Perhaps I'll be inspired and gain some wonderful new ideas. I've decided to wear a dress today, after a long winter of trousers and cardigans. It's warm enough for a dress, which is a pleasant surprise. However, I know it's all a trick. After all, it's still May, and the weather will turn in the blink of an eye, punishing me for failing to dress up warmly. I'm always so nervous about a swift change in the weather that I always pack extra layers. I've been told April and early May are the months that like to play tricks on you. It's a constant game and a battle of wills as the weather fluctuates between oddly cold and tropical warmth. Did you ever used to walk through the woods as a child? I did. I'd make my way around the forests, through steep paths that looked like they hadn't been used for hundreds of years. I'd get my unruly hair caught in bramble, my clothing would be ripped in so many places, and most of the time I'd be barefoot. For some reason, I never felt the sharp stones or sticks and loose soil beneath my feet, trying to take me down, as I dared to trespass on them. I'd walk around like a wild child, as if I was some wild creature from the storybooks. Yes, I'd even pretend I was in the Jungle Book, with my good friends Mowgli, Baloo, and Shere Khan. Those were the days when my mind was truly free, and untethered by all the rules and stipulations we take on as adults. Somehow we go from being free, innocent, and full of wonderful ideas to almost soulless, pushing our childlike whims and needs aside for the cold, austere world. I've been guilty of this in the past, and I've sworn never to get caught in that wave again. The dense woodland, the trees, the leaves, wild flowers in winter or summer, it's always magical. I was never allowed to go out on my own, so I was always made to go with an adult, and I used to love to visit the woods right behind our old home in North London. Whenever we were in England for the Christmas holidays, I'd be yearning to go, ignoring complaints about it being too cold. I needed to go. My soul needed it too, and so did my creativity. I never explained this to anyone in my younger years, lest they considered me stranger than they already did, but I went for secret meetings in the woods. Till this day, I've kept it all a secret. My family always believed I just liked looking at trees, wildflowers, or kicking dead leaves, but the woods was the place where I heard the voices. As soon as I arrived, the whispering would begin, and the entire area would take on a magical feeling. It would all come to life. I'd see odd creatures that didn't exist in any storybook. The trees would begin to bend and whisper, their branches reaching out almost in a wave. The voices would float through the treetops, starting as whispers and growing louder. I was never afraid. I had arrived, and they were simply remarking on my presence. After all, it would be rude to ignore me. I guess looking back on it now, it would have seemed churlish to comment on a child's relatively harmless activities. I was always glad for the discretion, as the adult who usually accompanied me, usually an aunt or an uncle, hung around in the background quite a distance away. My mother did not have the patience for these woodland visits. Eventually, I'd go back inside or find my way home if I was further afield, and I'd get shocked looks. Usually we'd have guests as I chose to make my appearance, and they'd stare with either horror or in amusement. I'd get a bit of a telling off for my appearance, but secretly I knew they didn't mind. The adults really loved this wild, unpredictable side of me. They never knew what I was going to do next. They were constantly amused and entertained. Perhaps most importantly, I'd carved out a world of childlike innocence for myself, one where I could retreat, that would allow my imagination to thrive unchecked by the restrictions of our world. I wrote stories, poems, and made up fantasies, nothing malicious. I didn't realize it at the time, but the adults around me were amazed by the lengths my mind would go to. My granddad once said he envied my imagination. I also noticed he was one of the few adults that didn't try to crush my dreams and my fantasies, allowing me to just be, to just live like a child and not questioning any of my perceived odd behaviors.